Today's podcast is sponsored by lighthousepowerbusiness.com.
June 4th, Hans Egede.
Even the walruses know enough to trust God. Blue and white monster icebergs, some as big as a whole town, shifted in the raging water and threatened any ship that dared approach the coast of Greenland. Through the iceberg maze, the ship called Hope maneuvered, and the ship's captain got more and more agitated at the icy labyrinth that churned ahead of him. And the captain got more and more agitated under the long strain. And the captain got more and more agitated at the man who'd spearheaded the voyage, Hans Egede. Storms beat them about. Contrary winds drove them back. The ship rolled and tossed on the mighty waves and was well nigh dashed in pieces. The sailors cursed, and the shipboards moaned, and Captain Kitterick stormed into the stateroom where Hans Egede, his wife Gertrude, and their 4 children sat with a small group of passengers bound for Greenland. "Pastor, it's all over with us," he bellowed. "The cargo boat has signaled she has run against an iceberg and is in danger of sinking. I fear the same will happen to us. You have brought us into this strait. Now up with you and give directions how we are to extricate ourselves, if you are indeed a man of God." Kitterick's anger was clearly aimed at Egede, who had been comforting the women and children in the stateroom instead of joining the sailors on deck. Egede's courage was clearly being challenged, but he knew only one pilot who could steer the ship to safety, and it was neither Kitterick nor himself. So he left the passengers with a promise. The Lord is near to all who call upon him, to all who call on him in truth. He fulfills the desire of those who fear him. He also hears their cry and saves them. Psalm 145, verses 18 and 19. Then Egede dutifully followed the captain back to the deck. The mountainous bergs dipped and jabbed at the sky, a serious menace. At any moment, the icebergs could crash together and crush the ship. But Egede saw a moving table of ice, and on it a herd of walruses relaxed peacefully. It was just like when the disciples were in a violent storm and Jesus slept in the back of the boat. The disciples cried out, "Master, don't you care that we perish?" But Jesus knew God was to be trusted. Now these great bulbous creatures seemed oblivious to the storm. God filled Egede with a settled confidence that he would see their ships through the storm. 36 hours later, the gale winds stopped, and the stars became visible again. But where was Captain Kitterick? Hours earlier, he'd left the crew to escape into his flask of whiskey, so he was in no condition to appreciate the stars. Egede had gotten up from his prayers, and he was thankful. Soon the ship landed safely on the shores of Greenland. God could be trusted. Jesus said, "Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid." John 14:27. Have you ever been tossed into a situation that tried your faith? Consider how God might be preparing you for a greater mission. Even the walruses know enough to trust God.
Well, good day, 365 Christian men. My name is Russell, and it is June 4th. We just listened to a message from a man named Hans Egede. And as I do these challenges, which I'm just incredibly honored to do, I try to pick one thing that kind of resonates at least with me and hopefully with you as well. And the message today was the journey of Hans going from Norway to Greenland on a ship that had to be an amazing challenge if you consider the 1700s and just trying to navigate your way there. But my thought today was in the area around navigation. You know, as men, we have to navigate a lot of different things in our life, and sometimes it's a real battle for many of us. There are icebergs in the way. There is nasty waters that lie before us, and certainly can create a challenge. I just had the privilege of attending what we call a men's advance here in Colorado, up in the mountains, with 100 men. And in talking to many of these men during the time that they were there, I noticed one thing that related back to this story is in the area of navigation. And you know, some of the men that I talked to during this journey was they wanted to escape the icebergs and the rough waters that they're currently facing. So they thought, you know what, why not 3 days in the mountains? And some of these men up in the mountains were there to take on the rough waters and the icebergs that lay before them. And I was just really impressed with both, that some wanted to escape and some wanted to dive right in. And based on some of those testimonials we heard, some men need real help in navigating their life of Christ, getting closer to God as they move forward. And it is a challenge. There are many things that lay ahead of us and before us. So as I spent time with these men, I thought about the challenge for today. And my challenge for all of us is, gosh, man, let's surround ourselves with men to assist ourselves in navigating our life and getting closer to God. It is a challenge out there as a man. So again, my challenge today is whether it's at your church, if it's just surrounding yourself with godly men in a good group, I would encourage us all to do that, because we can learn how to navigate the best way that we possibly can and get closer to God as we face the challenges ahead of us. Have a great day.
Today's podcast is sponsored by lighthousepowerbusiness.com. Get your free strategy session valued at $1,000. Get expert advice and take your business to the next level. Visit lighthousepowerbusiness.com to schedule your session today.